G'day guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Survival Let's Play series with me, Guy. This is episode 13, and what you see behind me is what we've made in episode 12, a super smelter, and also a custom-made rooted dirt farm. We've been using that quite a lot recently because in today's build we also do need quite a lot of rooted dirt as well. But for those who have seen last week's episode or the week before's episode, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for the comments, and thank you for your suggestions, and for those who have liked and subscribed, thank you very much. But moving on to today's episode, and what we're going to make, we're going to keep in theme with what we've been doing for the last few episodes, and that is we're going to start removing these things and we're going to give them permanent homes. So today's episode, we're going to focus on this little guy over here. No, we're not going to make a whole building based on this cactus. No. We're going to make a building, a storage room, if you will, based on what the cactus gives us. And if you guys don't know, if you smelt down cactus, well, you get dye. So in today's episode, we're going to be focusing on making a nice big dye farm, nice big dye factory, and also a nice big dye storage room. And I know it seems like quite a lot. It is quite a lot, but it is quite a really cool build. Very simple build, very simple shapes, and I'm really excited for you guys to see that. So we're going to build it right here. I think it's going to be about that big. Not too sure if that will make sense to you guys, but we're going to have a nice big building. I think it will stretch from down there all the way to around here. And it's going to be very, very colorful. Of course, I will show you the color palettes that we're going to be using, but it's going to be right here, right in front of the super smelter, making this whole thing into a street. And if it turns out well, I think we're going to start adding more streets into this world. I think it's going to look fantastic. Hopefully it does. You guys, let me know in the comments down below. But for now, just imagine if we walk down this path here, we're going to have buildings on either side of us, and I think it's going to look absolutely amazing. Of course, these buildings will cover each other. That one will cover that one, and the new one will cover this one, but that's okay, because that's what streets do. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's get started with today's build. Going to try to keep this under 30 minutes, or maybe at 30 minutes today. I know you guys do like the long episodes, but it does take quite some time, and I would really like to get this out every 2 weeks because I am trying to take this a little bit more seriously. And also guys, on that note, what do you guys think of the channel memberships? Do you think it's worth doing? Would you guys be interested? Yay or nay? I do have some pretty cool ideas that I would like to incorporate into this world and for you guys to be a part of. So please let me know in the comments down below. Your feedback, of course, means the most to me, and especially for this channel. So thank you for that. But moving on, let's get started with today's build and let's talk about the color palettes that we got going on. So keeping in theme with this build that we have in front of us, how it has 3 separate buildings that are mashed together, we are going to keep it going for this one over here. And as you guys can see in front of us, we have a whole bunch of colors going on. I did want to make it a colorful building, like I said, because it is going to be a dye factory, a dye storage room. So I have a whole bunch of colors, and I thought to myself, let's make it super colorful and let's make it yellow and green and teal. I believe this is teal. But as you can see, just starting from this end, we got yellow concrete, leads into yellow wool, and then we have some stripped bamboo, which then goes into, and I know what you're thinking, how does this work? It doesn't really, but if you put a lot of them together, they kind of trick the eye into making it look like it works. Trust me, you guys will see. So we have some weathered oxidized copper over here, then we have some oxidized copper leading into some stripped warped hyphae stems, and then we got some of the planks of those ones there. But that is going to be our middle building over here, and we're going to accent that with some stripped acacia wood because it is nice and orange, super bright, and the same thing over here with the accent as well. But this is going to be the first building, and it's going to be really red. We're starting off with some pink terracotta, some red terracotta leading into some stripped mangrove wood, and also we've got the planks version of those. And then at the very top of this build, we're going to have some netherrack. Not really sure about this one because it got quite a lot going on for it in terms of the texture, but in terms of the color, it does fit nicely, so I'm going to keep that in there. And then for the last building, we have the very simple yet tried and true, the bone block into the sandstone, into the smooth sandstone. We're going to accent that with these 3 colors over here. As you can see, that was the same thing that we got going on over there, just to keep things in theme. So when you walk down the street, it doesn't seem too dissimilar, even though we do have quite a lot of bright colors in the back over here. And then just do 3 blocks. Again, keeping theme, we got a nice little kind of staircase ledge that leads into the third building, and that's what we're going to make out of. Dripstone blocks, this rooted dirt, and also some granite. So that is pretty much the color palette for today. It's going to be quite strange right now as it is, but once we put it together, I'm sure it's going to look fantastic, and I'm sure you guys will agree. But speaking of doing that, let's go ahead and let's start building today, and let's get right into it. Okay guys, just want to cut in and show you what we've done so far. We've incorporated these 2 colors, these 2 buildings from the blocks that I've showed you before. We've got this red building, this nice bright red building, even though it is quite dark at the very top. Starting from pink terracotta, we got all the way up to the mangrove planks. But on this side, we do have the netherrack. And I know what you're thinking, that is a lot. Yes, I did mention it is quite a lot, but if we step back, you can see kind of the color that I'm going for, the little gradient as well. It is getting to a darker red with that netherrack. So I think that is not a bad addition. And looking at this really weird one over here, kind of reminds me of Perry the Platypus. I think maybe it's because of the orange and the green and a little bit of the yellow, but what we were talking about before in terms of the strip bamboo block, you can see how these 2 colors generally right next to each other don't really work, but because of the streaks, and the streaks being a little bit brown, a little bit green in the middle, kind of draws your eye in to that blend and tricks your eye into thinking that they work. Maybe. I do wear glasses, but I think it does. But if we take a step back, you can see that these lines, they generally do help with the blending of these colors. So that's exactly what we're going to do for the other side as well. But for now, I think it's turning out well. What do you guys think? Might not be fully convinced yet, but once we have all the details in, I'm sure it'll change our mind, okay? So let's go ahead and let's finish the rest of this build. And the first comment of the day goes to Alec, and he says quite a lot of things, a lot of amazing things, some fantastic ideas, and I'm thinking of putting them into some of the next coming builds, especially the farmlands. And also, he did mention the crypt, and we did have someone in the previous episode mention about crypts as well, so we're going to get working on that as soon as possible. But for now, thank you so much for your comment, Alec, and I hope you enjoy today's episode. Okay guys, we are now all done with the build today. Just a building, nothing else. We still got quite a bit of stuff to do, but my gosh, look at this angle right now. Kind of looks like a ship actually. And I'm staring at it for the first time in this world. It looks like a ship. Look at the mask, and we got like the ropes that hang on to it over there. But my gosh, what a nice little angle. But as you guys can see, as we walk down here, this was the little street that I was talking to you about. We finally have some sort of street going, and which means we can start making little sections, little districts in this world. For example, this and all that other little things we have going on in the back. This could be the factory section, place where we make all of our things, but we can work on that later. But now we can have a look at this building in its entirety. Right now, we are staring at the chimney. Yes, we do have a chimney. Thought I'd just add that in because we needed a little bit of movement, and so we got that with little campfires at the very top. But this chimney here, just made up of your dripstone blocks and also your rooted dirt, mixing in with some granite. And as we head further up into some bricks, and also just want to slap in some of those stripped acacia logs because, you know, why not? Nice little highlights over there as well. And we put in some of these walls as well, just to make it look like it's slightly indented. And at the very top here, we do have some jungle signs as well. Nothing crazy, just a little bit of extra decoration, a little bit of extra detail for this chimney. Now, taking a look at the rest of the build. So you guys have seen the color palette already, but now that everything is together, what do you think? Let me take a step back. Can I go further back? Yeah. So what do you guys think? Not bad, hey? Looks pretty nice. Now that I kind of look at it, it does remind me of like a shipping, or maybe more so like some sort of shack that you might find at the beach. I think it's the colors. Maybe that's why it reminds me of a boat. But what do you guys think? We'll have a sun here eventually. We do have the same thing over there, just a bit shorter. Eventually, once we upgrade to the new patch 1.21.1, we can upgrade the mods as well, and then we can deal with that sign over there. But for now, it's going to stay blank. It's just going to have some dyes on that later on. But we've got some windows. We've got this nice little awning over there that kind of droops down, connected to this building, which I think is quite cool. If we stand to the side here, it kind of adds a little bit more of depth that way. You see how it kind of hangs over this little wall over here. So some nice depth. Otherwise, nothing too crazy. These things we talked about before, we kept exactly the same. In fact, we still have the polished granite kind of pass on through, and also the signs over there as well. So we have that going all the way around, and I really like this little feature over here. Nothing crazy. It's just a nice little space, nice little hole. We've got some, was it, I think, polished tuff at the very bottom of these, but I just like how you can see through. Just imagine that you can keep some extra storage in there. Maybe the factory workers in here, the storage workers, like to put some extra things in there. We might actually do that later on, or we can make it lead into some sort of secret passage, because there is a lot of room under here, as you guys can see. But other than that, if we take a look at the top over here, you can see what I meant by accenting this thing with the acacia, some of the terracotta as well, just because we do have this little trim over here made out of the oxidized or the copper. So I thought we'd bring that down, almost like it's leaking through onto the rest of the building. We have that on both sides, and also over here as well. Not as prominent because this is pretty much in the same kind of shade and color, the red's the orange, but still a cool effect nonetheless. And speaking of the roof, we do have some of these brown glass planes just to add a little bit of a decoration. So if we stand right in front of it, you can see it kind of goes up, almost like this pillar here just follows all the way through up into the roof, which is pretty nice. And just standing on the side here, it'll give us a little bit more oomph. This build does need a little bit more oomph because it is quite flat, especially this wall here. We haven't had a chance to add any decoration yet, but once we do, we won't really see this wall, so let's just forget that it's so flat over there. At the top, because it is a dye farm, it is a dye factory, you can see we've got some of the things hanging up at the top. We've got some banners with some dyes. We also have these ones to make it look like the dye is slowly fading through, as you can see with the black, the green. I think that's a red one over there, and then we have an orange one, so a nice little feature over there. And as for the roofs, well, nothing too crazy with the roofs as well. We've pretty much just used that exact same technique with the browns, how it's almost light at the top and it leaks down to darker areas. Same thing over here, except we've got a lot more lighter areas as it comes through. And we've just done the same for that roof over there. Now let's have a look at the inside. Yep, there's nothing in here. It is quite spacious. As you can see, this entire area will be in fact the storage area, and this is where we'll set up all of our little dye capsules, our little dye chest, so we can come in here, grab our dyes and whatnot. And up here, we've got a nice little staircase. I really like this feature. I just like how there's going to be a split. Down here is going to be where we're going to have the actual factory where we can make all the dyes that we can in this particular area. Notice that I say particular area. We're not going to do that yet. Actually, we'll do that next. We'll dig a nice big hole. But up here, we have this portal. Now, this portal is going to be quite special to us. In fact, it's going to be very important in terms of what we're going to do with it. But more on that towards the end of the episode, so stick around to find out. But with that being said, the tour is now done of what we have so far, which means it's time for us to continue with the rest of the build. And I think we're going to start with the bottom. We're going to dig it out nice and big and put in the interior, and then we'll start on the redstone stuff, okay? So I'll see you in just a moment. Wow, we are actually blitzing through today's episode, which is fantastic. We can actually keep it under 30 minutes, hopefully. But speaking of under, guys, we have finished what is underneath the storage room, and that is this little factory area. I'm calling it a factory, but I'm not too sure if it looks like one. I did want to make it look a little bit more industrial, but I figured this one works because we are underground, so I did want it to keep it grounded, quite literally. So as you guys can see, for the floor, we're using packed mud, some coarse dirt, and some of the root dirt that I mentioned, just scattering in some of the grass and also bone meal, some grass to get some of those too tall grass. And in these little capsules, these little cells, we have these 2 tall flowers with a dispenser on the back, as you can see. So we can flip one of these switches. Well, it's not hooked up yet, but once we hook it up, we can flip this switch and it's going to give us a whole bunch of sunflower. And then later on, we're going to make a pretty cool machine over here that will make any kind of flower that we put in there into dye. So something to look forward to later on. But as you can see, we do have all these cells filled up with the 2 tall flowers, the rose, the lilacs, the peonies, and the sunflower over them. Each of these things will control the output. But other than that, we do have a bunch of barrels. We do have a bunch of barrels and bee hives scattered around, and chests as well, and also some shelves with the same kind of things, and also a bunch of these pots. I really love these pots. These pots are amazing. They're so cool and so versatile. And the same on this side as well, and some campfires over there. In terms of other mechanical things that we can take advantage of that I have in here, this barrel over here, we do have a hopper that is connected to this. This is where we'll put our bone meal because these things do need bone meal. And as you can see right there at the very top, we do have a redstone lamp, and that is an indicator of how much bone meal we have in the system. And as you can see, we currently have nothing because the light isn't on. So once we do get everything going, we'll put in our bone meal here, and then it'll be sorted into that one over there. Actually, no, this one will be sorted into this, and this barrel will sort the bone meal into this one, and also these ones as well will have the same effect. But speaking of the redstone, we actually need to do that right now. I've kept this wall nice and open because we need to put a bunch of stuff in the back over here and also build a farm over here as well, because we are going to use the cactus, a cactus farm over there, because we can get that over here. But in terms of redstone, we have a whole bunch of redstone things that we need to put down. Not too sure what these blocks are. Don't need that there. But we'll be making use of all these blocks over here. So let's go ahead and let's get started with this redstone build that we'll do in a small time lapse. And the next comment of the day goes to Simply Night, and they say that they love the color palettes in the builds and that it's something that they struggle with. So to see it done well, it is quite refreshing for them, and that they find the area and the house rather lovely. Thank you so much for your comment, Simply Night. I hope you liked today's color palette. If you do want color palettes, I'll put a link down below of where you can find some on a website. So have a look at that. Thank you. Do you guys hear that? Zombies. Okay, guys. Oh! There he is. I knew I heard something. Yes. Okay, there's multiple. Oh no. Okay. Whew. Just get those and put that there for now. Okay, guys. Welcome back. We have finished decorating. Well, we finished the redstone over here, as you guys can see. Well, you guys can't really see it, but in the time lapse, you may have seen me put all of this stuff together. Yes, there is a cactus farm, like I said, and we are making a lot of cactus. And yes, it is not completely 100% efficient, but that's okay, because we do have a whole bunch of cactus from the previous farm. You can see here, we have a whole barrel filled up already, and this one is slowly starting to fill up as well. And I think, yeah, so this one is starting to fill up, which is fantastic. So it doesn't really need to be 100% efficient. I mean, we don't really need that much green dye anyway, so that's okay. But anyway, guys, let's go ahead and let's finish up. We still have a couple of things that we need to do. As you can see, we have this very, very big hole here, and we're going to fill it up with the jungle logs in my back pocket in my inventory, because we've got to grow some cocoa beans. This is how we're going to get our brown dye. We're going to get that one back later. But this is how we're going to get our brown dye. So let's go ahead and let's lay down the foundations over here. And let's finish it up strong. And then I'll show you how all of this works. Can we get this one there? Yes, we can. Let's put all the way down. So once we got all the logs in, we can go ahead and plant the cacao beans on them. For those who don't know, you can only plant cacao beans on jungle logs. So that's why we have this little setup over here with the pistons and all of the redstones and such. There are different ways of doing this. I just thought this would be the coolest. And for the lucky last, perfect. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's grab the beans. I believe there's somewhere over here. Yes, perfect. So we do have a bunch of the cacao beans. I think we'll need actually around a stack. So let's put this one back. Keep the stack and let's grow that over here. We'll do that on the other side as well. Now, I know what you're wondering, guy. How does this work? How are you going to harvest all that by hand? Of course not. Don't be silly. We're going to use the redstones on either side that you saw me putting together. The pistons that you saw on either side. So if we press this button, you can see it kind of just shifts jungle logs side to side, which then knocks down all of the cacao beans. So let's go ahead and pick them up. And let's put them all back. So we should get around a stack of these, a little bit less than a stack once we do break it. So it should be quite a lot. Now, much like the green dye from the cactus, we won't be needing a lot of brown dye very quickly or for a lot of projects. So this is just in case moments. Plus, as you can see, we have a whole bunch of brown dye already from the cacao beans. So that is all done. Now, moving on to the next section. As you can see, I did mention before that we do not have some bone meal in there. And we can tell because that light is not turned on. But in my inventory, we do have a bunch of bone meal. And I split them up evenly. Just enough for the dispenser and also the hopper leading to the dispenser. So we have around 9 stacks and then another 5 for the hoppers. So let's grab all these out. And let's put them in here one at a time. And once we put the bone meal inside that barrel, it should be fed into the dispenser. And the light over there should turn on. So let's go ahead and see if that works. Let's make sure it all does. Pop that in. So the dispenser should start spitting this out. It's going to go up the bubble elevator, into a hopper, and then into the dispenser. Once it does, a comparator is going to read that signal. It's going to turn on, and the observer is going to notice that, and it's going to turn on the bulb at the very top, which will then turn on the lamp. Perfect. So that works. Let's do the rest. Fantastic. We have all of that going in, which means we are now done with today's build. Jokes, we're not actually done. We still have the interior, but let's go ahead and check and make sure that these things actually work. Let's start with the sunflower. So we should flip this on and we should get a bunch of sunflower. Yes. And we should get them in this barrel. Fantastic. We should try each and every one of these ones as well. So let's go try the lilacs. Yes. Perfect. Cool. We'll turn that right off. We'll try the peonies. Yep. And of course, the rosebud is going to work. I know it will. Fantastic. Let's turn that off. Awesome. So now we have the flowers. We have these flowers, but we can't turn those into dye without putting them into our little crafting over here. And of course, we can do that manually, but why would we do that when we can make a really cool machine just over here to turn all of the dye, all these flowers into dyes, and also make it so that we can mix dyes into making other dyes. So let's go ahead and get started with that, and we'll do that together. So we have a whole bunch of items in here, and we're going to go ahead and build it right in here. And we're going to start with some of these polished tough stairs, just one on either side. And right in the center here, we're going to add a copper globe, smack bang in the middle. And on either side, we're going to put some smooth stone. And just behind the copper globe, we're going to put a comparator. And just in front of the comparator, we'll put a sticky piston. And then on top of the sticky piston, we're going to put an observer facing us. This observer here is going to be part of a clock, which is going to help us make dye really, really quickly. Now, let's put a block in front of the observer, a couple of copper bulbs on either side. These will be the indicators to show us the items passing through. And some redstone, which I forgot. That's okay, we'll put these observers facing up. And then we'll put another observer facing away from me. Or facing you. And now let's grab our autocrafter. And we'll make sure that it's facing down. Ooh, I think that's the wrong way. But that's okay. Hopper will go over here. And the next one over here. Let's fix this crafter. I want the squares facing outwards. Okay, perfect. Now let's go ahead and put the finishing touches. Put some barrels at the very top so we can put some items in, and then we'll put another little polished tough stairs just here. And then we'll get some more stairs, some waxed copper stairs, and put them at the top with some trapdoors. And there it is, guys. We're done with a die making machine. As you can see, we're taking advantage of this auto crafter. With these hoppers connected to it, we can put flowers on either side to make some dye. But we're mainly going to use this barrel over here because we do only have one selection at the moment. Once we have two colors that can be combined to make another, we will undisable this one, enable it, and then we can use this other section over here. But let's just make sure it all works. So let's go ahead and let's put in our peonies. As you can see, we have an indicator to show us when everything's going through. Once it's all drained through to here, it'll just turn off. So let's go ahead and start creating. As you can see, we got a whole bunch of dye coming out. We have a whole bunch of these guys. So let's go ahead and pick them up. We know it's working, which means we can turn it off. And that will mean that this bottom of this is now done, which is fantastic because we got to go move on to the next section, which is up here, guys. We've been leaving this till last because it is quite a big build, quite a big finish, because we do have a lot of interiors that we need to do, and also a little bit on the terraforming as well, and just around here in the backside. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. I'm going to finish up this entire build, and then we're going to see about that portal in the very back, okay? So I'll see you guys in just a moment, okay? Perfect. And welcome back, guys. We're now done with the interior of the build. Of course, we'll have a look at that in a moment. For now, just want to show you something. This little piece over here, this is my own version of scaffolding. No, not that scaffolding, but this scaffolding. So it's ones that you might see in real life, how they stack on top of each other and how they're very long and very narrow. This little design you see right in front of you is what I saw on Pinterest. I'm going to put a little photo up right now. It is quite different in the sense that we cannot use the debug stick. If you guys don't know, the debug stick in Minecraft allows you to put certain blocks into the different states that you otherwise can't do in survival. So we've had to modify a couple of things, a couple of designs, but I like the way it turned out, especially with these ladders that allow us to get up and down each of these levels, which I think is fantastic. Look at that, we're going all the way up. And the reason why I put this here, the reason why I got this idea was because I had these little banners up here, as you guys may have seen. And I asked myself, how do these guys get these banners up here? How are they drawing all these banners? Well, we need to make it a little bit practical, even though this is Minecraft and, you know, you get a little bit of creative freedom. But I figured this should add a nice little touch of realism and offers a way for the people that work here to hang up these banners to dry nice and up high in the sky. So that's what we did here. And I'm really proud of how this worked out. And as you can see, I did mention before, this wall was quite flat. But now with all of these little shapes and these little holes and whatnot, it now brings this wall back to life and looks fantastic. I can't get enough of that. Now, keeping in mind what we've just done, let's go ahead and let's check out the interior. So, like I did say, this is a storage room. So we've gone ahead and we've made it into a storage room. One of those things you would see in nice big factories where they just put everything on pallets and those pallets onto nice big shelves. So I've kept that scaffolding design. As you can see, we've got the rods and also the acacias and also the sandstone, except I've just changed it up a little bit. We've moved these trapdoors out just so we can add some barrels and boxes and decorations inside, and we've connected everything with some of the acacia signs, and I think it looks fantastic. I love the way it kind of stacks up high, as you can see on those ones, and also this one as well. But all around, as you can see, we do have barrels, we have chests, we have boxes, and that is where we will have our dyes. I've already gone ahead and tried to fill out some of them. A lot of red dye, as you can see, because we do have an iron farm that does produce poppies. So gone ahead and converted that with the machine just under here, and some brown dye, some yellow dye, and some orange dye. And I think we do have some of these ones. Yep. So we do have some of these dyes, but once we get everything up nice and running, we should have a lot of all of these dyes, and we won't have to worry about going out to gather those things at the moment. But right now, let's have a look up here. Nothing too crazy, just extra storage, as you can see. Got some minecarts over here. Have this little table, this lectern, almost like the director stands here and just watches over things, make sure that things are going well. And at the very top, we do have some of these rails. Again, I was going to put some realism into this one. Put a nice little crane, because how do we get those boxes on top? But I did add one, and it looked quite noisy. It was already quite full over here, so I figured let's just knock that off. And also, this is the medieval days, kind of, so they wouldn't have that kind of electrical power. So we've removed that there, but we've kept little rails. We can add something in later on. So that is the entire storage, and that is this entire build. Now, let's talk about this portal right here. I did say we're going to talk about it, and we will. In fact, we're going to go ahead and go inside now, and I'll show you what we've done on the other side. Okay, so I have relinked the portal. I've moved it from just over there, just over here, so we can get everything linked up with the other portal on the other side. And as you guys can see, we have a bunch of carpets. These carpets will lead us to several different portals, and this, that we can't see all the way down there. And these portals will lead us into areas that have these specific colors that we can get from flowers. For example, what is this? Light gray. So we have light gray flowers on that way, and we have light blue flowers that way, and then we have blue flowers going that way. So we're not going to do it now, because today's episode is running a bit long, and I do want to get this out by the next day. So I'm going to call it here today. We're going to end it off. We did do an amazing build, I think. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. So we're going to go ahead and tackle these other builds in a different episode, but I don't think I'll make it the feature build in that episode. I think we'll do it at the start of each and every new episode, the next coming 3. We'll just do it at the start of each episode, and then I'll give you a little tour before we continue with the rest of the episode. But that is all, guys. We're going to call it here. This has been an awesome episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And don't forget to comment. I love reading your comments, as you guys know. So I'll see you guys then, okay? Bye. Alright guys, this is for those who have made it to the very end of the video and are still watching. I just want to say thank you so much for all the support and all the fantastic comments that we've been getting. Not just in this episode, I'm sure, but also in the last several episodes. So thank you so much for everyone. And to those who have made a lot of suggestions, I will get to those. I've got quite a lot of things on my plate at the moment. So in terms of replying to the comments, I won't be as quick as I want to be, but I do want you guys to know that I do read each and every one of them, and I will always get around to replying to them, okay? So thank you so much for liking the videos. Thank you for your subs. And for those who have made it all the way to the end, put the number 1 at the end of your comment, just so I know. Okay. Thanks guys again. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.